Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a robbery of your time. Hold your horses, outlaws. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and smash that notifications button before moving. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my Patreon page if you're interested in becoming a patron of the Slick Sixguns Network. If you choose to become a patron, you'll be able to get perks like being mentioned in the credits section of any videos that I produce from here on out. Also, receiving handwritten personal thank you notes from me, and seeing some background footage of preview videos of guns and gear that are coming to the channel, as well as further commentary that wouldn't be seen on the regular YouTube channel. So if you're interested in something like that and you really want to donate to the cause, I recommend that you look in the comments section of this video and subscribe to the Patreon page. I am so thankful for all of your support if you choose to do so. Good evening, Cowboys, Cowgirls, and Outlaws, and welcome again to the Slick Sixguns Network this evening. Today what we are going to be doing is we are actually going to be doing a review of the 1871 Open Top. You've seen this revolver in several different previous videos, but today we're going to talk about a quick review of this revolver as it pertains to competition, as well as it pertains to just overall shooting. So, the first thing I would like to say about this revolver, this is a very good revolver. If you're interested in buying one, I think they'd be great. They're a great collectible. However, I do not necessarily recommend these for competition. Main reason being is that this revolver in particular doesn't have the top strap. So without the top strap, it's going to be a weaker revolver, more prone to issues with the cylinder. Even though the steel is really strong, and it's going to take a lot of work in order to mess it up, but still, because that top strap doesn't exist means that you're going to have more issues possibly. So that's another reason I really wouldn't recommend it. It also has a your standard handspring instead of the Ruger's, which would actually have a little bushing with it that actually act in place of the handspring. But the handspring is prone to breakage on these. I've had this pistol for 3 years and I've had to replace the handspring on this once. That's the only part that I've had to replace on this. So depending on how you look at that, compared to a Ruger Vaquero, which I have had for the last 6 years and haven't had to replace anything on it, that could possibly be due to the fact that I don't really shoot them as much as some people who shoot competition regularly. But I will have to say that that is kind of a downside to it, is that I've already had to repair this revolver. The other thing is that the hammer, although it's period correct, it's not necessarily ideal for competition because the hammer spur is raised, so when you're trying to cock it, you're really going to have to reach forward and pull that hammer. Whereas if you have something like the Mentado hammers or the Ruger Super Blackhawk hammers, then you would have to reach as far forward. So in a duelist category, this might be a little bit more difficult to do rather than if you were to do it two-handed. So you can do it two-handed, which might be a little bit better for you, in which case this might be pretty good for competition. But if you're shooting duelist specifically, it might be a little bit more difficult. You are able to replace the mainsprings so you can make them lighter. But overall, the mainspring on this really isn't that bad compared to, say, the Ruger Vaqueros, which are significantly heavier than this right out of the box. So I'll have to say that definitely the poundage when you pull the hammer back is not very resistant. Because the barrel is 5.5 inches, at least on this model, depending on what you prefer. I like the 5.5 inch because it creates a good balance, so I'd say it's a well-balanced pistol. Accuracy, 5.5 inches is good enough, especially for cowboy action shooting. There's people that shoot, shorter barrel length than 7.5 inches, shorter than 4 3/4. I've seen some with 3 inches, but not particularly with this pistol. That's more with the Rugers the Blackhawks and the Vaqueros. But it's a well-balanced pistol, so it points naturally. You don't have to worry too much about that accuracy. You're shooting at targets that are relatively close, so you're not going to have to worry about that much. However, if you wanted to go out to distance, I would say when I've taken this out to distance, I've been able to shoot at a steel plate at about 25 yards just fine. So you should be fine with that. Also, the other thing that is a bit of an issue is going to be the ejection process of spent shells. Obviously, with most of these revolvers that are period correct, you're going to have to put it on half cock, open the loading gate. And then with this one, what is unique is that you are going to have to actually turn the ejector rod and then force it out. So unlike the regular Colt single action armies or the clones, where you just pretty much have to push this thing straight back, you can't do that on this model. You're going to have to twist and then push it down. So that's kind of a disadvantage. Maintenance on this is a little bit more complex, as you saw with the disassembly video of this. You have to take the whole barrel off, you have to take the cylinder off, you have to knock the wedge out, which becomes a bit of an issue. As far as trying to keep the gun in good shape and you don't scratch anything up, the single action armies or those types of clones would actually be better for maintenance. This one is a little bit more in depth. You kind of have to pay attention a little bit more to where you put your screwdriver. So I would say that overall, if I were to take this weapon into competition, it would do just fine. However, if you're looking to be the fastest cowboy action shooter, I do not recommend this, but this is a very beautiful looking pistol. That's the other thing I would say that is good about this, is that it is unique enough in the aspect if you show up to the range, people are going to kind of ooh and ah at the pistol you've got, although you may not necessarily be the fastest person out there. But it all depends. We all have our different reasons for why we do cowboy action, and sometimes we just do it for the historical reasons. So this is something I would get more for historical purposes, and also just kind of what we would call have style points added to my score when it comes to cowboy action portion. As far as fast draw is concerned, this is not an ideal weapon for fast draw. However, if you're going for ooh and ah factor, it's great. Main reason why I say it's not really good for fast draw is because of the hammer. If you're comfortable with the hammer being there, fine, use it. But I wouldn't use this for fast draw. In fact, what I actually use this for is reenacting. I don't even use this in competition. So this is more of my reenacting pistol. But once again, it is one of those pistols that you can use in SAS and cowboy fast draw, considering it's a 45 caliber. Because in cowboy fast draw, you have to have a 45 caliber pistol. So you can use this in either sport. Just depends on what you want to get it for. Outlaws, well, that concludes my video on the 1871 Open Top. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below this video. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And if you're looking forward to the next video, I'll see you on down the trail. Have a good one.